Thank you. Evening. My special guest tonight is the epitome of stardom. His spectacular rise from obscurity to the pinnacle of his career as a songwriter, singer, and complete showman is the stuff of which dreams are made.
Elton John was born March 25, 1947, in Middlesex, England. He's a legendary singer, pianist, and composer known for his flamboyant style and timeless music. And at the time of his birth, he was christened Reginald Kenneth Dwight, and we'll get to his stage name later. He rose to fame in the early 70s, quickly becoming one of the best-selling music artists of all time. His partnership with lyricist Bernie Taupin is perhaps one of the most successful relationships in music history. John has won numerous awards, including 5 Grammys and an Oscar, and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1994. He's also a dedicated philanthropist, notably founding the Elton John AIDS Foundation. Known for his vibrant personality, Elton has also had high-profile feuds with other celebrities. Madonna.
Madonna, best fucking live act. Fuck off.
Elton John's feud with Madonna is one of the most well-documented celebrity spats in modern pop culture. It began in the early 2000s and has been marked by sharp comments and public digs, largely initiated by Elton John. The tension first came about in 2002 when he sharply critiqued Madonna's theme song for the James Bond film Die Another Day. In fact, he called it, quote, the worst Bond tune ever. Ouch. His disapproval was a prelude to more pointed remarks in the years to follow. In 2004, during the Q Awards, John publicly accused Madonna of lip-syncing during her live performances, saying, anyone who lip-syncs in public on stage when you pay £75 to see them should be shot. Madonna initially did not respond to John's comments, choosing instead to remain silent. But the feud reignited in 2012 when John once again criticized her, this time on Australian television. He claimed that her MDNA tour was a disaster and described her as a fairground stripper. Elton's harsh words sparked significant media attention and public interest in the ongoing feud. Madonna responded indirectly, often emphasizing her commitment to live singing and performance quality. She seemed to take the high road, focusing on her work and largely avoiding direct engagement with Elton's provocation. Despite her reserved response, the media continued to highlight the animosity between the two icons. The feud appeared to cool down in later years. In 2016, Elton extended an olive branch, stating in an interview that he regretted his past comments and that he admired Madonna as an artist. Despite the apparent truce, the feud between Elton and Madonna remains a memorable chapter in pop culture history. David Bowie.
Yes, Elton, we just lost David Bowie. Can you describe the impact he had on you as a performer and a musician?
David Bowie and Elton John, two of the most iconic figures in rock music, had a complex relationship that evolved from friendship to a notable feud over the years. Their paths first crossed in the late 1960s when both were emerging artists in the vibrant London music scene. Initially, they shared a camaraderie and mutual admiration for each other's work, often running into each other at parties and gigs. The seeds of discord were sown in the early 70s, a period marked by their rapid ascent to fame. Despite their similar trajectories, their personalities and artistic approaches were quite different. Bowie was known for his avant-garde style and constant reinvention, while John's flamboyant performances and accessible pop rock sound appealed to a broader audience. This divergence in their public personas may have contributed to their underlying tensions. The feud became public in '76 when David Bowie referred to Elton John as rock and roll's token queen in an interview with Rolling Stone. This comment, widely seen as derogatory, deeply offended Elton, who was openly gay and had faced significant prejudice throughout his career. John later described Bowie's remark as very unkind, expressing his hurt over the insult from someone he considered a friend. Despite the public fallout, both artists continue to achieve tremendous success, often navigating similar cultural and musical landscapes. Over the years, there were occasional attempts to mend the relationship, but these efforts were often overshadowed by lingering resentment and competitive tensions. In the 80s, the rivalry seemed to cool off somewhat, although they remained distant. Elton John continued to express his admiration for David Bowie's talent, albeit with a sense of regret over the strained relationship. Bowie, on his part, rarely addressed the feud in public, maintaining a characteristic aloofness regarding personal conflicts. In the later years of their careers, both icons occasionally alluded to their past rivalry in interviews, but the acrimony of the 1970s never fully resurfaced. Bowie's death in January 2016 marked a poignant moment for John, who paid tribute to Bowie during a Las Vegas concert. He expressed his sadness and acknowledged Bowie's significant influence on music and culture, referring to him as a true original. Keith Richards.
I have great respect for Mick Jagger and Charlie Watts and the Rolling Stones actually as a group. I just think if they'd have thrown Keith Richards out the band 10 years ago, they would have made better records. I just think he's held them back.
Elton John's feud with Keith Richards is another fascinating chapter in the history of rock and roll rivalries. The discord between the two has been marked by a series of sharp comments and public digs. The tension became public in the mid-'80s. Keith Richards criticized Elton John's music and flamboyant stage presence, often taking jabs at his persona. One of the most notable incidents occurred in a 1988 interview with Rolling Stone magazine, where Richards referred to John as an old windbag and dismissed his music as inconsequential. This remark did not go unnoticed by John, who's never been one to shy away from a retort. Elton John responded with his characteristic wit and sharp tongue. He called Richards a monkey with arthritis, poking fun at his age and appearance. John also criticized Richards' lifestyle, particularly his well-documented struggles with substance abuse, implying that it had affected his performance abilities. Despite these harsh words, the feud between Elton John and Keith Richards has often been viewed with a degree of levity by fans and media alike. Both musicians have a reputation for being outspoken and having a sense of humor, which has colored their exchanges over the years. While their barbs could be biting, they also reflected the larger-than-life personas that both artists cultivated. In recent years, the feud seems to have cooled, with both John and Richards focusing more on their respective careers. Billy Joel.
Elton used to ask me that. We'd be on the road together. When are you going to make another album? When are you making more albums? And I would just, after a while, he's like, when do you make less albums?
Elton John's feud with Billy Joel, two of the most iconic piano men in rock history, began as a series of friendly jabs but escalated into public criticism. The tension peaked in 2011 when John criticized Joel's alcoholism and rehab stints, suggesting he wasn't taking recovery seriously. Billy Joel, feeling betrayed by his friend, responded by defending his choices and his sobriety. Despite their past successful joint tours, the public fallout strained their relationship. Though they've made amends in recent years, the feud highlighted the challenges of friendship and collaboration amid personal struggles and public scrutiny. A feud with Mum.
And my parents, through their ups and downs and their fights, always stayed together, I think, to give me an education. I mean, they put their happiness on the back burner so that I could have a good education, which I'm very grateful for.
Elton John's feud with his mother, Sheila Fairbrother, was one of the more personal and painful conflicts in his life. The rift began in 2008, reportedly over a disagreement involving John's now husband, David Furnish. Fairbrother disapproved of Furnish's influence on Elton, which led to a bitter fallout. The feud escalated when Sheila hired Bob Halley and John Reed, former employees who had been dismissed by Elton, to assist her with her affairs. During the 8-year feud, John and his mother had minimal contact. In interviews, Fairbrother expressed her hurt and disappointment, while John largely remained silent on the issue. In 2016, however, the long-standing feud came to an end. According to a source close to the family, Elton reached out to his mother, leading to a reconciliation. The renewed relationship allowed them to reconnect before Fairbrother's death in December 2017 at age 92. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think the animosity Elton John has had and has received has hurt his career? Let us know in the comments section below.